one of the things that I know we've talked about before is, the importance of a business plan, having some type of structure like that from a business planning standpoint. What would you like to share with our audience regarding how you see that as being a key component and a key piece? Because not only does it help the business, but it should start to shine some light on your personal strengths, your personal weaknesses as well, because you're looking at that business plan going, well, I know what that is, or I know what it's about, but it's not something I can do or I can do alone. So it kind of gives you a roadmap of not only business development things, but personal things that you might need to work on.
I'm going to go off the reservation a little bit here.
Okay.
so bear with me.
All right.
I mentioned to you, I'm in a pay it forward phase of my life, but I'm beginning to undo a lot of what I'll call trauma and chaos that has been nurtured into me.
Okay.
A lot of the things that I believe were required to be successful. Every time you go into Fortune magazine or Cura or any of these things, the top 10 success traits of entrepreneurs, of CEOs. And, we all get programmed with all these things we must do.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you all recall Rick Warren's purpose-driven life, because I love the way you've said it, Bryan, a number of times. Being purposeful, having a mission, honoring what's natural for you. Okay. One of the big things that I had to do, and my life has come full circle in this regard, was realizing that a lot of what I went through prepared me for this moment. And I actually am excited to wake up in the morning doing what I love to do, which is helping others. I didn't know I loved it because this is an inaccurate term, but I think our audience is probably going to resonate with it. As much as I run my mouth, I'm actually an introvert. I really am. I can only be around people for so long before it drains energy from me and I have to retreat. I can be in a big room with 1,000 people and be happy off in a corner somewhere, hoping no one notices me. There. And so when we start talking about building the business and really honoring what's natural for me, I had to think through, okay, what can I pour myself into? And it also goes back to what you and Bridget both have said around surrounding yourself with people who can do the things that you're not good at, who love doing that, whose natural gift those things are, and honoring their input and filling out and expressing what the mission, vision, and purpose is of the organization. It's like, yes, you can start a janitorial supply shop. You can start an AI, an artificial intelligence agency. You can start a biotech or biomed firm. You can, open a beauty shop. You can do whatever. But what's your why?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
If you can zero in on your why, then all those other pieces become a bit more obvious to you in terms of what they are, how they support what it is you want to contribute, and your ability to then come back and see who has gifts that are aligned with that why.
Yep. Beautifully said, Rhonda. That's absolutely true. Bridget, I see your head nodding, so I know you have
because everything he said was so on point. First of all, he kind of stepped on my toes when he talked about purpose, because when I started the mentor program, I was pretty much driven by the numbers. Okay. So if I had a group or I advertised myself to death about a certain skill or a certain topic that we were going to do that month, if 4 girls showed up, then that deemed to me that this program is not successful, right? Or if I had an interest meeting and I told my girls to invite a girl, and I had all these different rewards or incentives if they would invite someone, and then maybe 10 girls showed up, that drove me, in terms of how successful the program was, right? And so with the business plan, before I even applied for the 501c, I had to create a business plan, and get a summary of, my expenses and all the other things that I had to do. But the business plan, the summary of the program, was to essentially pour into these girls and these boys and build and empower. None of it had anything to do with the number of people. And so I had to collaborate with some other mentor programs, and by talking with those other programs and even my mentees, they had to go back and say, what is your why? Did you have a number in your head? And I was like, no, I just want to do this. I just want to empower. I just want to help everybody. Well, then did you have a number? No, I didn't care. So why do you care now?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Like, what is it? And so like Randall said, every morning I get up, I could do this forever. Like, it's just first nature for me. And when I got that in my head, in my volunteers, even my volunteers had to tell me, which kind of made me feel I was in my feelings, because they were like, well, you're not making us feel encouraged because you're sitting here wondering and worrying how many girls. I promise you, I would go, well, do you think I should cancel? Do you think I should, they were like, well, Richard, this is your program. Why, if you're not motivated, how are we going to be motivated? And so I had to kind of regroup and figure out my why and my purpose. And it won't look like 10 people, 15 girls, 20 girls, 30 girls. It'll look like the purpose. And so that kind of reassures me now. And so now I don't even think about the number. If one show up, that's the one that needs to be there.
There you go. Absolutely. And Bridget, I know we've talked about that in the past too. Having that one, because there was, I think, a period of time when you were saying the number of girls showing up was going down, right? And you were trying to get that sorted out. And I think that's an important piece of it, right? To have an understanding of, that one is the one you need to be focused on. Have appreciation, give the energy, the focus, the effort to that individual, because they're there, and that's what matters, right? So that's getting out of your own way, getting out of your own head, making it not so much about you, but about what your actual purpose, which is to help individuals that are there.
And it benefited me. Excuse me. Sorry for interrupt. It benefited me when I then moved this program to Houston, because it didn't look like the program in Nacogdoches, right? It was it was a mentor program, but it was stationed in shelters, homeless shelters, right? So you never know what you're going to get there. And so I had to come into it with a mindset with the directors and the people, the youth workers. They were like, well, I don't know how many girls are going to show, because they don't really have to come. They have to sign up to be a part of this program. They don't have to come all the time. So I had to have the mindset, it doesn't matter how many girls come. So just imagine if I had still been in that mindset, well, if it's one girl, I probably won't show up, and stuff like that. If I would have stuck to that and when God was moving me into Houston and doing this in a totally different way, if I would have been in that mindset, well, if 2 girls show up, I'm not going to come. Well, call me if you know how many girls are going to be there. So I had to go into it. Well, it doesn't matter how many girls come. How many girls come? That's who needs to be here. And they really, the youth workers and the directors at these different group homes, because I started out at group homes, they really, they really like my attitude. And so it benefited me a lot to change my mindset.
Oh, absolutely.